Oh, hi. Welcome to Serious Star Trek. I'm your host, Antron. Normally, there'd be some special effects or some graphics or some kind of incredible thing that we worked up. Unfortunately, there it is, guys. I just want to tell you we're having some technical difficulties early, and I'm going to have to bail out of here early myself. So let's get on with the show, shall we? Here's your host and mine, Captain Fun and Dr. Johnny Price, PhD. Guys, I'll be
at the edge of the universe. Probing the immeasurable.
Yes.
Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart.
I love this intro
Travel
so much.
beyond our time and
man.
solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams.
Thanks, guys.
Star Trek every week in color.
Oh, wow. It's Tuesday, May 16th, 3:01 p.m. I sense a crash of OBS imminently. But here I am, better late than never. I'm your old pal, Dantron. I did want to really quickly make a bit of a pitch here because, man, our channel has lost some of its funding. Our subscribers have grown and grown, but unfortunately, the number of people chipping in quatloos to this thing has shrunk and shrunk. So if you enjoy this, consider doing a super chat, consider subscribing to the channel, or even just click thumbs up on this video if you liked it, or thumbs down if you don't. And that really helps engage in the algorithms. Now, speaking of engaging our algorithms, let's get back to this show, guys. I'm really, really sorry about that. I apologize.
We got to come up with an insignia for the USS Fred Mertz. We got to think about it.
Ooh,
that can be like a Patreon thing.
I would love that. I've got so many things in the works. I've been working on new stuff, taking my time learning all new techniques to bring you new special effects and new crazy stuff. So consider chipping in, or just watching this thing helps a lot, and telling your friends and bringing other people in to watch this thing. So thanks again, gang.
Well, it certainly helps my ego when people watch. I don't know about you guys.
I can't speak because my brain is paralyzed. Trying to come up with an insignia for the Fred Mertz has to be something Lucille Ball related.
Right.
So I'm thinking that famous Vita Mega Meat Mix.
Vitamita Vegemin.
Yeah, if that had like an identifiable packaging of some kind, like if it is in a can, that's literally the only thing I can think of.
The best I've come up with is something that uses Desilu or some kind of something homage to the heart logo or the Desilu heart logo or whatever.
I like the stylized D,
Indeed.
I don't know, man. We gotta get Tiffany on this. She's the artistic one.
No, I started laughing because when you said stylized D, I saw it because it's backwards from my point of view.
Right.
It looked like the L from Laverne and Shirley in midair with little dots like Quentin Tarantino directed it. And so I lost it. I was like, oh my God.
Speaking of Quentin Tarantino, hey, Larry, where'd that outfit come from? That's how a pro does it, Larry.
So of course, there's great Lower Decks news today. But I knew that Big John was going to wear his awesome suit. So I'm like, you don't need to see me in it. So I put on my new deal from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love that movie. And this is the, vintage champion t-shirt, Spark Plugs t-shirt that Brad Pitt wears. Am I pulling it off? I don't know. I think I can. I look like Captain Fun at some kind of fancy dress party in New England. It's like, this is all I had, but I'm quite American about it.
Larry, your beard is such a costume accessory unto itself.
It really is.
It automatically, like a beard and a captain's hat, puts you somewhere else.
Yeah.
It didn't put me into Brad Pitt. Sorry to say. Maybe if you took your shirt off, it might help.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I gotta finish up my physical therapy on my knee.
Well, I've got the all new C Lab 2023
I like
awesome.
it.
set up. Thanks to that dude. Who's that dude who's trapped underwater, or they're experimenting on him?
Ed
The
McMahon.
Florida professor, right?
Yeah, that's what
Just
it
broke
is.
the world's record for time underwater. Depressurized time underwater, whatever that means. I mean, aren't you depressurized just being in your little tin can anyway?
Depressurized time underwater, meaning not in a. I don't know what that means exactly.
He's gonna have to do the.
He's gonna get the bends. That's what it means.
Anti-nitrogen, whatever that's called, decompression.
He can't come up. He's not choosing. He literally can't.
Right. Well, he'd die. He could.
Yeah.
Only once. Nameless Florida professor living underwater for some reason.
Well, look, man. If you will it, dude, it is no dream. Theodore Herzl, State of Israel.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yes. I'm uncharacteristically enthusiastic about today's Star Trek news. So I'm gonna sit on it and let you do it, John. How's that? Because I'm just gonna go wee, and then that's.
I mean,
Larry got excited again.
They've been teasing this whole like Lower Decks live action crossover with Strange New Worlds. They've been teasing it for a while, right? And everyone's like, well, how's that gonna work? That's gonna look stupid.
Not me.
In actuality, it looks fucking awesome. So they put out a little trailer today, a couple pictures, and you can see Marin in the background, and Boimler. It looks like he's doing the Boimler thing. And apparently, according to my sources anyway, when they did that promo spot with them in the Lower Decks uniforms, they were filming, and they said, hey, we should get you over in front of the cameras. And they just did that. That was on the impromptu side of marketing.
I don't know about that. I know I heard that. I did look. Of course, I analyzed that picture of them, and it looks to me, it's hard to tell, but it looks to me that their pants and boots are super slim-legged all the way down, and the ones that they wore at that Met Gala thing, whatever it was, had that cool, red or white stripe, whatever, department stripe at the boot in the slacks, and it looked really cool because I was like, okay, what a great way to solve that problem.
Yeah,
making the drawing come to life in 3D.
Yeah,
and so it's quite different in the thing that we see. So
we'll see.
They change pants.
They do tend
a little
to
CG. It's like a fraction of a second shot.
They do tend to screw around with promotional images.
Yeah.
They'll put people in front of different backgrounds. They'll change uniforms a little bit here and there. They do tend to screw with promotional images.
You know what it is? I just realized.
Uh-oh.
It's not me being cynical, really. It's just that it looks so goddamn good. I just don't want to be Charlie Brown and take a shot at that football again to have them knock it away, because like Frakes is directing it, who like say what you want. That guy gets Star Trek.
He does the good ones.
And like it's a straight up comedy, like in the Trouble with Tribbles vein. So like I love those kind of Star Trek ones where like, yes, give me all the farce you want, because you know who doesn't belong in a farce? Spock. So like that's the easiest thing in the world to write. That's awesome. Like that's you get the what's the Larry David show? Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of uncomfortable comedy without anybody's feelings really getting hurt, right? Because it's he's half Vulcan. Well, you know those guys.
It's funny that you say it. It's funny that you say that, Larry, because I heard that the third season of Strange New Worlds is going unscripted, thanks to the writer's strike. Right. So there might have to improv that thing, because at the very least, season 3 is now going to be delayed, because while it's already written, I guess they got to have the writers on set. That's part of the whole deal to make rewrites and whatnot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't follow the last one in 2003 or 7 because I just had stuff going on myself. But the one in the late 80s in 88, I think it was whatever corresponded with the second season of Next Generation.
And we all know how the Next Generation is the best, so therefore
Yeah,
Strange New Worlds is going to be the best.
that's the one where you can't, that I know that the stuff about, well, actors can improv and producers can make suggestions, and then you end up with A Quantum of Solace, the James Bond movie,
Yeah, no
where it's
kidding.
like, this is a fantastic third draft screenplay that you shot. It just needed, I needed 3 more nights in the hotel with that bottle of Jim Beam, and that would have been an awesome movie. But that's what writers do, right? I guess AI or a million producers can get you to Quantum of Solace, but you need a real writer to give you From Russia with Love.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the timing of the strike is, or I guess it's because of the negotiation on the contract. Their contract was up, right? Because we're right at this inflection point where nobody knows and everybody's afraid about this tremendous rate of innovation that we're on the cusp of what we're going to see from this technology, if you can believe the hype.
I
Right?
don't.
Fair enough. I know a lot of people out there, and I would venture to say, if you ask people, maybe the majority of people would say yes. You need a heart and a soul to write an episode of Who's the Boss, right? Like you can. There's no way you could create entertainment so fucking formulaic and an attention span in your audience that expects so little that you could replace real unionized humans with a fucking computer program. I don't know. I just think that the bar is low for what humans are writing and outputting right now. And I am going to take this moment because I did not do my March of Independence this year where I take a month off of independent media. I am instead going to take a vow of solidarity with the writer's strike, and I will not watch anything, any non-independent media, any corporate media at all until the writer's strike is done. And I think that might even have to include Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm sorry to say, I'll still be on the show and do it, but I don't know that I can. I think I want to ethically support the writers.
I have 2 things to say to that. Did you see what Justine Bateman said about
No.
Family Ties? She said they shot 7 seasons, and there's going to be a point not too far in the future that you could just do an 8th season by mixing and matching. So she 100% supports what you just said.
Yes.
And then second of all, I get like quitting Netflix and saying why, because you don't support the WGA. But like, what is not watching corporate produced television do for writers?
Well, that's a good question, but I think it's the reason is this overlaps nicely with my ideas about where corporate media is going. And we're also at a really weird inflection point for cable television and cable television providers like the news, but all channels and all media, like the money is drying up there. And there's going to be such dramatic shifts that I think now is the time. If it's never been the time for independent creators to produce stuff, to go out there and produce stuff on their own, not beholden to there's like 6 companies maybe that really own it all, the whole entertainment world. And I just think there's a world way beyond that that's worth supporting. And there's enough of it now of high enough quality that I can fill all my attention bandwidth without ever really looking at the next iteration of Star Wars or Star Trek or anything that I've seen 100 times already. That's just where I'm getting to, maybe in my life and everything else. But
Well, I hate to be a bummer, but on serious Star Trek, I would like to say that I'm the opposite. And just yesterday, our pals Kozermart announced that they did the leather jackets from Picard 3. And
Did they really?
Yeah.
Those guys.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Ask how much it is too, man.
I mean, everything's usually like $35.
Is it real leather?
It's not real leather.
Okay.
But it looks like it. It doesn't.
It's leatherish.
It doesn't. No, it looks like,
leatherette.
The faux leather. It doesn't look like the cheap like Halloween stuff, which I really admire, because a leather jacket like this would be $300 retail. There's just no way around it, even from their stuff, because it's so elaborate from a stitching standpoint. There's perforations, the little delta perforations. I mean, they went mad, but they're like, it has to be this particular thing, and it's like, oh, really? Because that looks perfect, right? Anyway,
over or under? Wait, don't say it, Larry. John, would you say you think it's over this or under this? I'm gonna say over this.
Over Mark Espinosa?
Yeah.
So the regular uniforms are like what, 35?
Yeah.
I will say barely over Mark Espinosa.
But a little bit more than Mark Espinosa.
Maybe I'd go up to like 60.
Can we laugh this one off? Licensed? So like,
yeah, Hector, man, these are the ones from our boys in China. So
yeah, so you could get away.
Well, I mean, but this is the shit that they put out in their little swag bags too.
Well, that's true. Actually, you know what?
It might be licensed.
I have to take it back. I was going off on Hector about this, but there is a licensed version of this, and that's why I know that this one looks better. And I think the licensed one is $100, but he's not far off. 150, whatever. But yeah, no. Can I tell you what the Kozermart one is?
Yes, please. So I can.
John Price hit it $60.
$60.
Are you joking?
Wow.
It's like
made with real baby leather.
And in San Francisco, I'm like, well, I hated every single thing about Picard 3 as documented here and elsewhere, so I'm not going to go into it. But that fucking jacket for $60, I need to buy one of those Picard pins, I guess, because I can't have wrong pins on the proper thing.
Let's take a moment to say a couple more positive things about Picard season 3, because I think it's left a sour taste in our mouth. But man, so many other people loved it. We can't just be the bitter naysayers. Like, there was cool stuff in it, a lot of good break stuff, a lot of good cast stuff, a lot of good stuff. Just overall, meh. Not enough.
Well, I mean, so my biggest issue with Picard season 3 is that the first 8 episodes don't matter. There's some really good moments in those first 8 episodes, but the actual story is just the last 2 episodes. That's my big thing. I liked it. I liked the first 8 episodes. I liked the last 2 episodes. It just isn't like one cohesive thing, right? Because the Borg come out of nowhere and they're like, "Oh, there was foreshadowing." No, there wasn't. I've watched it. There isn't. Maybe in the guy's head there was foreshadowing, but anyway.
deep
I love the
symbolism.
I also hate Jack Luke Crusher. I hate him a lot, which is a problem because he's like the main character. But other than that, I have a lot of positive things to say about it. I mean, the bar is incredibly low, so I'm glad they cleared the low bar. But it is getting a positive review, and I will say, Star Trek writers have been posting pictures about them on strike, and somewhat unfairly they have been sort of targeted. Target is probably the wrong word, but they've been getting replies on Twitter like, "Oh, good, we don't need Discovery writers, they should fire themselves anyway," that sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, all right, let the people go on strike, all right, don't anyway. That's all.
Well, guys,
as you know, I'm not a union man, Cap. So
You're a doctor, not a whatever.
That's
I don't
right.
know, not a shop steward.
No commie.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a union member, right? Right, John?
I am not.
No,
I'm
you're
not a
not.
union member.
You're not?
No, I live in a state that does not have compulsory union membership.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's great. I get the benefits of collective bargaining without having to do it. It's great.
I'm not a union member either, but I do a lot of work with unions, for unions.
Yeah.
And but I grew up a union guy, so I do feel something for the writers. And the stuff I feel the most for is they just didn't get a piece of the streaming pie, and it's just
That
like,
isn't right.
it's
See,
like
stuff
the
like
TV
that,
stuff all
yeah.
over again, right?
Right. And if it requires like if it requires a union like action to get them like the money from the thing they produce, then okay, that's fine. Yeah. Like that's stupid. Anyway.
I learned recently about like Spotify and streaming, and it's enough to make me want to, if not stop my Spotify account, sell all my Spotify stock too, because they worked out a sinister deal with the labels where they pay them money, tons of money, that they don't have to pay to the artists.
Yeah.
These things that have nothing to do with the amount of streams and what's actually getting viewed. And they've brokered these insane deals. I just feel like it's the last dying vestige of these huge megacorps that own the copyrights for technological reasons more than anything, that they've owned this last 100 years worth of stuff.
Oh yeah, sure.
And we're just now at this moment where we got choices to make. We can keep like bathing in nostalgia again and again, dipping in the Star Trek pool again and again, and then whatever classic rock pool again and again. But then we're at
like that band that plagiarizes Led Zeppelin. It's like it's like the millennial version of Led Zeppelin. I hate those guys. I don't even remember their name. Well, anyway,
I heard a pretty interesting thing along those lines today when I was driving my kid back from school, listening to Lamont and Tonelli on my radio station, and they said the God damn it, the Village People were suing Trump, can't use our music, right? And Trump is like, we're not using your music. We have hired a tribute band.
Yes.
And so your trouble's with them. We're just hiring them to play. And I was like, wow, that's a really good argument. Like, what do you do, right? Because you've pit the other guys against people that, there's no harm. I can't think of anybody going after a tribute band. They might say you can't use their logos or something, but like
Metallica would.
Oh, I'm sure any of the
but like
Freddie
Mercury, that's funny because like I remember I was watching like a car commercial or something, and it was like a Pixies song, and I'm like, there's no fucking way the Pixies have sold out to like Mitsubishi or whatever. And then you listen closely, and it's like it's a cover version of Where's My Mind or whatever it was. And I'm like, God damn, dude. they don't have to get the Pixies. Like, they just get a cover band. Like, that's crazy.
So that's gonna happen with Dan's AI, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dan's gonna have to take his dog to the vet or something, and we're just gonna plug in the real Dantron. Like, hey, Dantron, your blue's looking real even today. And he'd be like, yeah, you're right. Little Max Headroom in it, And everybody will be like, yeah, that's kind of something Dan would say. That's cool. I hope his dog feels better.
Yeah. The sad thing is, like, you could call the Orville like a cover of Star Trek, but it hasn't been renewed yet. # renew the Orville,
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Do you?
No, it's not. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Seth MacFarlane, for whatever fucking reason, has decided he's like a real filmmaker or whatever. It's like, dude, fuck off. You're the Family Guy person. Like, do the Orville. Like, how hard is this? Do the goddamn Orville. Anyway, Orville's great.
I totally see where he'd get to the point where it's like, hey, man, because it was him and the director did the whole like
They did the whole
season,
thing. Yeah.
I could see where he'd go, hey, you know what? I proved what I set out to prove here.
Yeah.
To the point where me and a buddy just, sprayed our Star
And it's
Trek
so
everywhere.
good. It's what, season 3 of the Orville. It's like
Fantastic, yeah.
literally like what, 6 or 7 just like movies. 8 movies, whatever it is.
Everybody knows I like to say, I'm Mr. Enthusiasm, but no kidding. That time travel thing with the red-haired guy living his whole life and then canceling it but still remembering.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best time travel TV show thing I've ever
good.
fucking seen.
It's so good.
And the best thing is like 2 or 3 episodes later, somebody goes, hey, I wish I had kids, and the two of them like look at each other like, remember?
Right.
We wiped that whole thing off of him in time travel.
He did.
That was an insane reaction shot, though. I was like, wow. Anyway.
Yeah. I should get an Orville uniform.
So go Orville.
Kozarmart needs to make Orville stuff.
Oh, dude.
I would buy literally all of it. I'm so pissed. I haven't been able to get a Eagle Moss. I don't even like the Orville like as a ship, but I would buy the Eagle Moss one. I'm just trying to wait for, that paycheck to come through. You know what I mean?
Is there a recognizable Eagle Moss logo? Because I feel like it would be good to incorporate that into some kind of insignia.
I don't. Well, Eagle Moss doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
even better. No. Even better.
I wouldn't want to be associated. No.
Even
D13 or
neither does Desilu, as far as I know.
That's
maybe
so true.
Maybe they do exist. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, Altman was just talking about this on Inglorious Trexperts. They were talking about we should do a Desilu episode, and he was talking about how there's just so much like not misinformation, but like unverified information, like. You would need like an actual like scholar of Lucille Ball to like sift through all the like rumors and like because now it's gone the complete other way where like no one knew Lucille Ball was involved to now all of a sudden she's like the queen of Star Trek.
Yeah, right.
So you gotta like figure out like where it went,
Yeah, right.
So
I don't know. I don't think she was. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. But let's give her credit.
I'll give her credit. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's only the money that show, that monster of a show, which was a monster. It was also just technically a leap forward.
And
I love Lucy and then take all that money and be willing to put it on the table for the best sci-fi TV show to that point.
Lawrence Luckinbill is married to Lucy and Desi's daughter named Lucy Arnaz.
Hey, you guys, I just checked on the Facebook podcast. Chris Sagasag, who just wrote Ed Mercer's a monster about that time travel thing, I'm pretty sure. Friend of the show, just threw up a really quick Star Trek Arrowhead with the identifiable Desilu D.
Ooh.
And so I don't know if you can check it now or like after the show, if you see that, I'm like, wow, that seems like a really cool icon for the USS Fred Mertz.
USS Fred Mertz. I'm working that into my my fan fiction. Don't worry. I got a long summer ahead of me, folks.
So anyway, yeah.
Well, anyway, yes.
The cosplay guys, yes. Buy anything you want. They tried to make the Orville ones, but nobody on their Kozarmart fan thing. I think they needed like something like at least 30 larges. The awesome thing about that company is they will do a prototype and go, here's a prototype, mostly this. What do you think?
Really?
And then everybody goes, I get the idea. And then like 1% of the people start going, the thread count that you have there is clearly wrong. And those people are ignored. And we get what we get, which is awesome. But they couldn't do. There was some Strange New World version that people were like, we're not going to do that one. There you go. I think that's great because it gives you it's like, is that Disney? Oh, no. It's got the Desilu dot.
I like it.
I'm like, hire that Chris Sagasag guy. I should probably make more of an attempt. I know he pronounces it Seguiseg. and I can't do it, man.
All I can say is I'll take this thing. We need some extrusion and some beveling and sci-fi that bitch up. Really get it.
A lot of beveling.
Lot of hella beveling. I've been doing so much sci-fi modeling, and every time I make something, I go, it just doesn't seem that high tech. Add some bevels, and it's fantastic.
Excellent.
Guys, speaking of which,
right.
Speaking of crazy angles, I got to get out of here. The only question is, Larry, do you want to play my video clip that I had put aside? We've seen it before, but do you want to play that at the end? It's the top video clip. If you want to play it like right before you hit close, you hit that and then end, but it's up to you. Or I could play it right now before I leave as my little outro.
Why don't you do that? Because I don't really know what you just said. All
right, you got it, guys. Thanks again for watching Serious Star Trek and watching me. That is, keep watching the boys because they're gonna. Oh man, I sense a lot of talk about the Orville. I sense a lot of talk about maybe hemlines or inseams or piping or something. It's gonna be amazing. And you know how I can see the future, guys? You know why I can see the future? Because I talked to this lady.
Hi, I'm Nichelle Nichols, and I want to introduce you to a new and different kind of psychic service. It's called Psychic Encounters. Now with Psychic Encounters, you can develop a personal bond of trust with a psychic who understands your needs and can help guide you to a happy and prosperous future. George Bloom called and won a fortune in the Florida State Lottery. Michelle Fabiani called and met her Prince Charming just a few days later. Callers to Psychic Encounters have been impressed.
This was the best psychic reading I've ever had. It touched me more deeply than any reading I'd ever had before.
He definitely changed my mind about phone psychics.
She was actually telling me things about myself. Private things.
The psychic knows what she's talking about.
In just a few short minutes, you'll get the answers you need. Don't wonder, don't worry, and don't wait. The answers are just a phone call away.
Must be a teen call
now. Here's that.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. For adults and entertainment only. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, off he goes. Thanks.
Doing engineering stuff.
Thanks.
He's the chief engineer, USS Fred Mertz, Yeah.
Anyway, Star Trek.
So anyway, back to Star Trek.
Did I go off on the jackets? I can't get over that. They prototype this stuff. Yes, that's good. Okay, get this. Hey, you know what? Bring that up a little more. The one thing I noticed, though, speaking of that, to dovetail into today's news about, the lower decks guys. Did you note Captain Pike? Up at his collar, it looked more like they dropped the gold department color shirt.
Okay.
They dropped the V a little more to expose the T-shirt to make it look like they have.
Interesting.
It's sort of, it calls back to the movie thing where there's a black shirt with a department shirt over it. But that kind of looked weird because they had the collar came up a little high. It looked awesome when you didn't have a department shirt on. When Kirk, before they made him captain, and Khan, you know what I'm talking about? Those black shirts with like just a little ghost of the insignia.
Yeah.
That was cool, except it kind of got worse once you put the department thing on.
Yeah, definitely.
So it looks like they're trying that. So I'm like, okay, those poor bastards at Cozumart. Like, because they did 3 different versions of Picard season 3 uniforms.
Yeah.
And for like between 30 and 60 people at a time. I just think that's amazing.
Gotta love it, right? So yeah. So I like Star Trek. I don't know about you. I was trying to think about the other day, like why? Because I don't really like a lot of Star Trek. A lot of people like we hang out with, they're all like comic books people, or they're like super fans of like the Marvel, the MCU. They really get into like Doctor Who. Doctor Who is a big one, right? I was trying to think like I don't really fuck with any of those things. It's just Star Trek. I just want to play make-believe in my head.
I will tell you exactly why for you personally. It's
Okay.
for I know why it is for nerds
Okay.
because I'm one, right? And I also know why it is for you because I'm one of you guys too. I'm like I walked, a foot in both worlds. It's that all the yayas that you go, oh, those nerds, what do they give a shit about?
So
You
true.
get all those same yayas out with professional sports, collegiate sports, and watching that world.
It's true.
It's that, so you're like, and that's sort of like the things that you enjoy about the stats and stuff. You take over to your Star Trek love because you're like, those Star Trek star dates.
It's true.
You know all the NCC numbers. So it's like that's your in, right? So that's my assumption as your buddy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying
No,
to
I think that makes
analyze
sense,
anybody.
right?
It's just
My nerddom is sports, like certain sports, so that makes sense. Everybody's a nerd about something.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but the nerds that I know, so let's do it. I'll even say it was me. Like my family moved around a lot. My dad got promotions in his job that just moved him around the country. So like my big constant was TV, right? I could watch Wild Wild West in Dallas. That's the same one in Ohio. And like at one point I just started watching Star Trek and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Because no matter where you go, no matter what planet, no matter what town, you got a crew, right? And so my crew was like my sister. Here, you have to watch this. This is awesome. But that's sort of your in, right? And then that's why I got into heraldry and all that because it's like, all right, secret handshake. Like, if I go like that to like one of my dad's hippie friends, he's like, oh yeah, right on, man. Mr. Spock, Dr. Spock, because hippies sound like that even in the 60s.
That's exactly what hippies sound like. No questions.
Anyway, that's nerds kind of going that way that they feel like they're part of a club, even if it's just them sitting watching TV. And that's why the whole fandom and con thing blew up because everybody realized wait, what? There's other people that like this thing too.
Right.
And then, then you can get 60 years later, you can get super reasonable and accurate uniforms for
fake leather jackets for $60.
The price of
shipping.
six loaves of bread in a 3-week wait. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that makes sense.
Having a little 3D conversation over there. Easy to model that badge. I am curious. I never thought of this.
I'd love to see it.
I want to see our Exeter design 3D modeled with
that'd be cool.
But with little spots for the magnets.
Yeah.
So you can just drop those in little spot. Oh my god,
that would be cool.
I would die happy. You know what? I might just do that math and then go throw myself on the kindness of strangers. You know what I mean? Hey, I have the shop ticket that says it's this ratio. I don't know.
Yeah. So
of the handmade ones, yours is the best. I've made 4 of those, and yours is the best. It just came out looking the best to me. So
whose?
Yours.
Oh, the Exeter ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's definitely awesome.
I mean, when you hand make them, they don't look like it's part of a uniform, No. Everyone is just slightly, the dimensions are slightly different because it's oh, I don't want to paint this again,
No, it's awesome. I don't. Anyway. I should have that. I'll bring that for next time.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, it's cool. It's awesome.
Look at Hector going. It's a walker task. Oh my god, that dude. He's weight training now for football. He already told me if anybody's listening from Lowell High School, he's like, I'm not fucking doing swimming next year, Daddy. That's a direct quote.
Oh boy.
And I was like, why? And he goes, because they made me lose 15 pounds to trim up, which I did. But now I have to gain that 15 back and do another 15 of muscle for the O line to get back where I was last year, and I was like, I don't know, man. That sounds like some fucking Christopher Nolan Batman sit up shit.
I
So whatever you
mean,
have to do,
how old is he? He's a teenager. He can
he's
change
15.
weight pretty easy.
Yeah, he just didn't want to do it. That's
Oh, that's fair. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fair. I get that.
Yeah, he just thought it was nonsense. So he's like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like brute force football guy now. And so he's a smart kid actually. Can I just finish this bit of it? He knows his mother's gonna like go, whoa, well, that's a time vacuum. Something must be filled there. Or how's your Chinese coming, or something. And he has already said that he's gonna join lacrosse. So the lacrosse guys and football guys are roughly the same weight running around.
Okay.
So, all right. So those of you, and we met a friend of his this Sunday. It was so funny. We went to go get burgers, just family, corner stop. Hey, we didn't know your friend Olivia is a cashier there. And sorry for this entire awkward thing, man, but I just want some fish and chips. Anyway, that was fun.
And how is Olivia doing?
She's
good?
fine. She's a very nice person.
Nice.
It was more Mimi because, you come in and it's like, oh, I'm looking at my kid and he has the, it's pretty even startle of recognition face, like,
Yeah.
when he sees her. So then I follow his eye line, it's a girl, and I'm like, oh, okay, some girl from school, no biggie. Except now Meanie saw the same thing and is like, who's this?
Yep.
It doesn't say anything yet. And I look up, and before I could go, oh, Walker, I'm really sorry, you poor bastard. This is going to be bad. Walker goes, oh, this is my friend. And she says at the same time, oh, hi, I'm Olivia. And I go, oh, hey, I'm Walker's dad, Larry. And she goes, yeah. And at the same time, Mimi goes, oh, Olivia. Like she's in some like 1950s sitcom. Like, and she's the gay white guy. It was the weirdest thing. And so
welcome to
so sorry,
being
Olivia.
a teenager with parents, Walker. This is a life lesson you're gonna learn again and again and again.
It wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's no big deal because it's just, I don't know what Mimi is doing. Is some friend of his, right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Like we know the people he's sweet on. He talks to me.
He talks.
Anyway, all right. Geez, I better not. Chris is right. Oh my God, stop talking right now.
So,
low fight song.
Anything you guys want to talk about in the comments? I know we're talking about the lower deck situation, obviously, and how awesome Tawny Newsome looks, and frankly, how awesome Boimler looks. I'm really looking forward to that. And I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind about Strange New Worlds. I really am.
Did you see just in that 1.5 second shot? There's just a fraction. Like I had to play it 9 times and just watch each character because that's how quick it is.
Yeah.
So I'm playing the time just watching Boimler the whole time, and in that fraction of a second, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's Boimler." Like immediately because he's like shifting his weight and looking all uncomfortable and shit. And even Mariner's like, "Oh, she doesn't have her thing open and her sleeves rolled up, but this is serious shit, Mariner." So even in her little like fraction of a second, she did some visual storytelling. It was crazy. I was like, so any show that's pulling that off, I mean, come on, man.
I really
you got to give it to him.
I like the fact that, and I mean, I'm sure in no way was this intentional, but the actor and the character are so similar that they can do this. Because I mean, with voice actors, there's no guarantee that that's going to be the way it is. But I mean, Tawny Newsome and Mariner, she can play Mariner, like that's the way it is. What's his face? Jack McQuaid can play Boimler. He's a big, tall, lanky white guy. So I like how that worked out.
I found out that Jack Quaid is his parents are Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, of course you grow up to be Boimler.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Anyway,
yeah,
nice job, man.
yeah.
I kind of, you know what I did? Like, just as a parent, I was like, oh, that's fantastic, because I think all the time, like, my kid is, of course, if I'm your dad and Mimi is your mom, of course you grow up like that, right? Like, here's like the correct way we're gonna marshal all our forces in the most efficient way to do this idiot thing, right? Like, of course that's the kid that we have. And so I thought that about Jack Quaid. I'm like, oh, right on. If those two people are your parent, of course you grow up to be an actor. I mean, just the environment you are raised in is like you're doing something in entertainment, right? And so, hey, maybe you end up, hey, he's doing voiceover stuff. That's cool. Playing himself. I just think that's great. Right. I think that's great. Anyway,
I agree.
Good job, Jack Quaid.
Good job, Jack Quaid. Yep. So yeah.
Here's a thing that happened today. Phil, we got the San Diego badges. We're ready to go to San Diego. We couldn't figure it out this year quick enough. Last year I would have done it, but I couldn't go because of COVID. So I probably would have arranged a serious Star Trek, little seminar, a little thing. Can't do it this year, but I'll talk to Eddie for next year and see if
serious live Trek.
Yeah, see if we can't get Altman to sit in.
That would be cool.
Or us screw in on one of his panels.
Yeah, there you go. Friend of the show, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Maybe do something with Burnett or John Sundress.
I was gonna say, at the very least, we got to get St. John Sundress in there.
Yeah. I don't know. That's doable. That's a thought that I had. Let's put it that way.
I love it. It's great. We need more super chats to make that happen.
Oh, there's Steve Eucheren. Built-in career choice. Absolutely. Oh, about Walker or Jack Quaid. Yeah, let's see. There wasn't too much. Here's some Star Trek news for me personally. I've relaxed. It's like, this whole thing with them, just seeing those two in live action with like real Starfleet uniforms. And by the way, until I'm proved wrong, and I don't think this is true, but in that just one glimpse, I think, did you post it or Chris Sagasag posted the picture? I posted it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In that screen grab that you found somewhere, the light is reflecting just right on Tawny's insignia. So you can't really see Boimler because he's pretty obscured.
He's in the back, yeah.
He's pretty obscured, so it goes either way. But until it's proven wrong, which it probably isn't this, I'm going to believe in my own headcanon that those fucking things are lit up like Iron Man's arc reactor to prove that they're from the future. It doesn't counteract anything from the cartoon, right? But have those fucking things, little blue, arc reactor energy. Hey, man, we're from the fucking future. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to start watching Lower Decks. And that's why they did it.
I love it.
Anyway, that's my thing. And plus, now Dave Porter has to figure out a way to put LEDs in his little badge.
Nice.
To make that dream come true. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, man. Lower Decks is. I was just rewatching a couple of random episodes the other day, and it's they do it. They do it right.
They do it. They exactly.
I was trying to rewatch Strange New Worlds. I couldn't get into it. I got a lot of mental issues with Strange New Worlds, which I understand is a me problem, but I just can't. I can't do it.
I ran through them doing my laundry and stuff, and I just could find stuff to like all the costumes, textile work, and props and that sets is just amazing. So I mean, I probably like 6 or 8 episodes a lot, and the other ones are just fine. But during the ones that are fine, I'm like, this is fine. It's never like, oh, this offends my very soul. The fucking Guardian of Forever shows up and his name is Carl.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
that's.
fuck you. Like, I'm not having that thought whenever I see.
I mean, Discovery just completely changed the game in terms of expectations and in terms of reception. Like, it's never going to be as bad as Discovery, like ever. Hopefully, God willing, it'll never be as bad as Discovery.
Weren't we talking about it this week? I said something like, if they had started off with Strange New Worlds, and then kind of led into Discovery, that might have worked, right?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, here's Spock's sister, except Spock's fucking introducing her, right?
Right.
Like after we already have everybody's made their peace,
which is the formula
with new Spock, right?
Right, which is the formula for Cybok, who is one of the best Vulcan characters of all time.
I agree, but that's like kind of a slim choice, right?
I'm just saying he's a great character because, as we all know, Star Trek V is one of the best Star Trek movies ever made.
No argument here.
Rick Austin, looking at you, buddy.
Oh, Rick, yeah. I think Rick famously fell asleep in Star Trek V.
That's awesome.
If I remember that one correctly. It's the original theatrical run.
I'm pretty sure Star Trek V was the first movie I saw, not movie, but like the first Star Trek movie I saw in the theaters.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I distinctly remember the whole mountain and singing parts. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Man, the conversations like that just make me think of that like Tears and Rain thing, man. Like I had just as you were talking, oh, here's the first one I saw. I'm like, I immediately went ruffle through all the like what we were doing. Like Rick was definitely there for his Star Trek the Motion Picture. He made it. Ricky made his fucking shirt for Wrath of Khan that said "Kill me, not Spock" on it.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Anyway, so it's like really cool that like it's like when I talk to James Bond fans, my first one in the theater was Spy Who Loved Me, and everybody goes, "Oh, chuckle," right? Because so same kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it is not Into Darkness. Star Trek Into Darkness is, of course, the worst Star Trek movie of all time, as we all know.
I don't know.
No, it's the worst.
I think the Resurrection, is that the one with the plastic surgery people? And
Insurrection would be like a mediocre two-parter during like season 7, right?
I agree. So what's that doing as a theatrical movie that we have to say?
It's watchable. Like if you're just binge watching if you're binge watching TNG and like in the middle of season 7 you just turn on Insurrection, and then you just keep binge watching the rest of TNG, it would fit nicely. Not a great movie, but
here's the thing though. Here's the thing, and it's nobody's fault, but there's always something. There's always something online where somebody goes, "Oh, hey, here's this like unappreciated genius from 10 years ago."
Yeah.
And it's always some cult thing that everybody knows about, but is now getting a second life because of the internet or whatever.
Right.
That happens like it's a trope, right?
Mm.
So I don't know. I just hope that happens for Star Trek. That it's like, it was briefly out of my and your personal favor, and now it's like climbing back up the hill. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've said it before on here, but one of possibly the best thing to come from Picard season 3 is that it's a hard reset. Like, okay, this is the final chapter of this group of people, right? There's no more Borg. There's no more like baggage we have to deal with. Anything moving forward is just that, moving forward.
Let's hope. That would be fantastic.
God willing. That would be
I
nice.
just
no
don't need
Borg, please.
I just don't need like, little girl Geordi and like the ghost of Vlad Riker or whatever his fucking name is.
Vlad Riker.
You know, I don't even. It is his like dad or something, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't need all that shit. If you're gonna do new Star Trek, yes, I'll take 7 of 9. That's a fantastic thing because we already know the captain's backstory. Plus, let's go, Captain's.
No, exactly.
Right, that's fine. I get that one. Jack Crusher, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Like Stashwick, I don't know what that guy is doing in that show. No, thank you. All those. So just give me 7 of 9 and a fucking crew.
Yeah.
Like what was Peter David's book thing with Mackenzie, Captain Mackenzie?
New Frontier.
Yeah.
New Frontier
like
with,
that was
Shelby
full on Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
With some characters that we recognize.
Well, I mean, it's the thing. They did the same thing with TNG. TNG, all new characters. 80 years later, like
right.
We're
and
doing
here are
Star
the
Trek
tenets
with
of Star Trek.
Stuff. Yeah.
Right. Under the rules of Star Trek, here's some Star Trek.
Right. And so
I
that's
don't get why they don't do that.
That would be a good place to start.
You got me fired up again, man.
I'm not trying to get fired up. I'm trying to have a nice, easy little. What day is today? Tuesday. Nice, easy Tuesday. You know, I got a couple more weeks left until graduation here at Starfleet Academy High School, and I'm just trying to ride into the sunset. You know what I mean? Just take your easy.
Big plans for the summer?
I have too many plans, and none of them are going to get done.
I gotcha. Yeah. I love Euchre says the Furiosa announcement and the next new Planet of the Apes. I don't know what the Furiosa announcement he's talking about because they announced the project. They announced who's playing her. That's do you know that's the Charlize Theron character from the new Mad Max?
Yeah, Fury Road.
Yeah, they're doing.
But they're not going to get Charlize Theron to do it. It's going to be like a prequel, right?
It's a prequel. It's some young up and coming actress. I don't know.
Yeah, some random blonde.
Nah, it's probably.
Do we really need more Planet of the Apes? I mean,
I'm fine with Planet of the Apes.
Speaking of franchises that can fucking go away forever, like,
all right.
I love the original Planet of the Apes movie.
Okay.
And then the sequels kind of get a little weird. Like, they really lean into the whole nuclear war thing, which is fine. But then the fucking James Franco Planet of the Apes movie was shit. And then the ones where the apes were the good guys was shit. And fucking Andy Serkis pretended that he's like an Oscar-winning actor for some reason. They're all just shit. I don't like apes. This is a human.
You said nothing to disagree with.
I'm just saying,
the new ones.
Planet of the Apes,
I'm a giant fan of the Apes from way back because that was cool shit when you were a kid.
It's awesome. The first Planet of the Apes is an awesome movie.
It's like saying, "Hey, fuck Star Wars," right? Like you kind of really that's what everybody likes. It's cool. So that was our deal, and kind of started me off on my astronaut thing. Sure. But I'm like the one guy who thinks Planet of the Apes starts to suck after they crash, right? Like once the apes show up, that movie just sucks. It should be like Planet of fucking Kick-Ass Chuck Heston and his 3 buddies.
And
anyway, I was looking at Steve. It's like never enough Planet of the Apes. What I was going to say is I really like the James Franco one, actually. As a fan of the first one, it was really cool to watch that one. It was like if you watch Blade Runner and then Blade Runner 2049 and don't think about all the comics and novels
sure.
video games and shit. You just watch those 2 things and they're awesome bookends. And so if you like the first one with Charlton Heston and then you watch the James Franco one, it's really cool to kind of go, all right, well, that's how that happened. Right. And if you look at them like having it within their own context but related, it's really kind of cool. But once you start adding in all the other stuff and trying to make it make sense, and that the captain's name is James R. Kirk in this one, and James T. Kirk when he talks later, and in context, it wasn't James T. West, Robert Conrad's name in Wild. You fucking go down there, and then it's like, what are we even doing here?
I really liked the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes. I unironically like that movie. I think it's a really good reboot. I do. I think it's a good reboot. I think Marky Mark is on top of his game. And Charlton Heston has that awesome scene where he's like the ape general, and it's pretty awesome.
Do you see the almost immediate fan canon that went everywhere that his name is apparently Zaius, despite it not ever saying that anywhere that anyone can prove?
Of course.
Yeah, I just was reading about that. Yeah, I don't like it. Sorry.
Who was that asshole who was like, I'm the Planet of the Apes canon expert? Who was that asshole?
Drew Gaskin, man.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck you, Planet of the Apes.
If you go onto the Planet of the Apes fan forums, he has a lot of crazy accusations leveled against him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's an asshole.
So, to the point where I would address all of that shit immediately instead of just go, oh, people are just going to talk. I'm like, yeah, really? Because that seems like they're accusing you of fucking crimes, man.
He is not welcome on the
boys will be boys.
That's for damn sure. With our brand new insignia, that's going to be awesome. Well, I think that that gets us to 7 or 4, whatever time it is, standard time.
Oh,
and yeah. So I guess
I love how you're coming in to a nice smooth landing.
I look. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I gotta. Part of the compromise is that I have a hard stop at 7.
All right, man, let's go.
So
it's 7:01. I'm with you. I got to pick up my kid. It's no big deal.
Yeah. So anyway, join us on the Facebook group where I get to type all my crazy theories, and Chris Sagasag posts fun pictures. That's it.
Okay.
All right, guys. See you next time at where is it?
Where is it?
It's probably on the internet.
Probably.
If I had to guess.